Blue Devil is my stage name. It has nothing to do with my personality. Trust me, bro. These little blue powerhouses have a bad reputation as the tank's top bullies. But not all damselfish are evil. Hear me out. Even the more tame ones will become terrors, however, if not properly introduced or placed in the wrong environment. But how do you tame this Blue Devil? The answers are in this video, so let's dive in. Not all damselfish are evil. The first place to look for mild-mannered species are within the Chrysiptera genus. Here, there's a surprising range of personalities and varieties, and some of these colorful characters might just surprise you with their charm, and a few might keep you on your toes. These are my top recommendations if you want to play with the blue fireball. The Azure Damsel, with its stunning blue and yellow colors, is often considered one of the most peaceful in the damselfish in the aquarium hobby. Despite their small size, these fish can add significant visual impact to your tank. They're known for their mild nature, which makes them an excellent choice for community tanks as well. Tank-bred Azure Damsels are particularly desirable because they already are accustomed to aquarium life. This, of course, reduces the risk of stress-related issues that wild-caught fish might experience. They're also more environmentally friendly, as tank breeding helps reduce the pressure on wild populations. This species can live in a 30-gallon tank where it can coexist peacefully with other semi-aggressive species. If you're looking for a splash of color without the typical damselfish aggression, the Azure Damsel is a top contender. Starck's Damsel is like the rare gem of the Chrysiptera genus. It's not as commonly found in the aquarium trade, which adds an air of exclusivity to owning one. Fancy. Believe me, in my last reef tank I built, I searched for months to find one. If you see one, consider yourself lucky. This fish stands out with its distinct blue and yellow coloration, a bit more muted compared to the Azure Damsel, but equally captivating. Starck's Damsels are slightly larger, growing up to 4 inches, and they bring a bit more attitude to their tank. Their aggression level's higher, so they require careful selection of tank mates, typically other semi-aggressive fish that can hold their own. Because of their scarcity, they're often sought after by more experienced aquarists who appreciate the challenge of balancing beauty and temperament. This species can thrive in a 30-gallon tank, but demands a bit more attention to ensure a harmonious tank environment. Personally, when I look for this fish, I'm considering a tank of at least 4 feet in length. I see them as dwarf angelfish lookalikes without the dwarf angelfish problems of coral picking. The yellow-tailed damsel is a perfect example of a fish that doesn't let its small size limit its personality. Sometimes confused with the iconic blue tang, this 3-inch fish is notorious for its feisty behavior. Despite its striking blue body, bright yellow tail, and small size, the yellow-tailed damsel is not for the faint-hearted. Its aggressive nature can dominate the tank, often bullying other fish, even those larger than itself. However, many of these horror stories happen because of how they're introduced. The yellow-tailed damsel can be a rewarding addition if done right. These fish thrive in a 30-gallon tank but require plenty of hiding spots and rock formations to keep their territorial disputes to a minimum. If you're up for the challenge, the yellow-tailed damsel can add both beauty and boldness to the aquarium. Finally, there's the Springer's Damsel, a 3-inch fish that brings more to the table than just its good looks. Known for pest control abilities, particularly in managing flatworm populations, this fish is a practical choice for reef keepers. It's a perfect example of form meeting function, as its striking coloration is matched by its utility in the tank. Springer's Damsels are also relatively peaceful compared to other damselfish, making them a versatile choice for a variety of tank setups. At 3 inches in size, they're compact enough to fit comfortably in a 30-gallon tank while still providing significant benefits to the ecosystem. Their pest control skills make them a valuable addition to any reef tank, reducing the need for chemical treatments and keeping pest populations down. Alright, let's talk about why many go wrong with damselfish. First, species selection. I highlighted damsel species that will have the highest chance of success. Damsels like Fiji Blue Devils and Domino Damsels are still terrors in most tanks and should be avoided. For these fish mentioned in this video, the main thing to do is introduce them last. Damsels will likely be your most aggressive fish in the tank, but introducing them last puts them at the bottom of the hierarchy. This is because they haven't claimed any territory and they'll have to work around other fish that have. By doing so, you'll give your other fish time to establish their own territories, preventing the damselfish from becoming the tank's self-appointed ruler. This practice should be done with any saltwater tank setup. The vast majority of saltwater fish in the hobby are territorial, so if you introduce fish by aggression level with the least aggressive first to the most aggressive last, that'll increase your success. This is assuming that the most aggressive fish isn't capable of eating the least aggressive, or just not entirely capable. When it comes to choosing tank mates, think of semi-aggressive fish that can stand their ground. No pushovers allowed here. Rockwork is another crucial element in making your damselfish feel at home. Imagine it as their personal real estate. You know, caves, crevices, and hiding spots where they can retreat when they need some downtime. Providing these spaces will help diffuse aggression and keep your tank harmonious. Here are some fish that can stand up to damselfish and also won't eat them. Clownfish, basslets, dwarf angelfish, tangs, rabbitfish, blennies, and some species of wrasse. Lastly, let's talk about tank size. This is another failure point. The tank is too small. While you can put these fish in smaller tanks, there's a chance they'll end up being the only one. It's much easier to pull off having these fish together in a 4-foot or 6 tank long. I had a set of 3 Azure Damsels in a 125-gallon tank, 2 feet for each damsel. Yeah, they picked on each other, and yes, they would chase some other fish. However, the tank was large enough where they wouldn't cause major issues, and I had some other larger fish they wouldn't dare to mess with. In particular, my Malaris wrasse ended up being the peacekeeper of the tank, while my rabbitfish just detracted them all day with its overactive personality. If you want to put them in a smaller tank, I personally would not go smaller than 40 gallons if mixing with other fish. Clownfish can hold their own against them, and they complement their colors. Bottom dwellers like blennies can also work since they occupy different spaces. But remember, introduce the least aggressive fish first. Okay, I know I'm throwing a lot at you. Let's talk about why the heck you'd even want to do this. When you think about it, these fish they got a lot of pros. They're extremely hardy for a marine fish. They'll eat anything you give them. Let's face it, blue is hard to find unless the fish gets ick the moment you look at it. Tanks. They're small and they don't need a large tank, and they're reef safe if you play your cards right. Not convinced? Here are some blue fish you could consider. The blue tang, well, too big and ick magnets. Powder blue tang, hard to keep, pass. Mandarin gobies, yeah, good luck keeping them alive without a large copepod population. Large blue angelfish, which aren't reef safe and they get absolutely huge. Dwarf angels, which are a hit or miss on reef safe. Blue reef chromies, which get large and they need a bigger school. Well, you see, that was pretty quick. Blue is tough to find unless you have a giant tank or you're a more advanced aquarist. You know, back in my day, we used to cycle salt water tanks with them. There'd always be a few of these buggers left over, and then we had to figure out how to get rid of them. Don't worry, I explained how to not have that issue earlier. I got you, bro. Let's talk about how safe they are in a reef tank. Damselfish might be labeled as reef safe, but like any good story, there's a twist. Adding these vibrant little characters to your reef tank isn't as straightforward as it seems. If you introduce them too early, you might find yourself dealing with a tiny terror claiming the entire tank as their own personal kingdom. It's like inviting the life of the party to a small gathering before everyone else arrives. You know, things can get a little wild. However, if you play your cards right and add them later in the game after the other fish have staked out their territories, you're more likely to keep the peace. Timing is everything when it comes to damselfish in a reef environment. When introduced correctly, they'll add color and activity without turning your tank into a battleground. This battleground can keep inverts like crab and shrimp. Keep this in mind, as with them, your damsel's territorial nature could get the best of them. And regarding corals, they tend to leave them alone. There might be a story or two out there, but it's pretty rare. Now listen, a well-maintained environment is key to keeping your damselfish happy and healthy. A tank of at least 30 gallons gives them enough space to stretch their fins and explore without feeling cramped if we're referring to a single species, and maybe one other fish that can stand up to them. Keeping the temperature between 73 to 81 degrees Fahrenheit ensures they stay in their comfort zone, and maintaining a stable pH range of 8.1 to 8.4 keeps things balanced. But wait, that's not all. Salinity is another factor to monitor closely, with levels ideally between 1.020 and 1.026. Damselfish love a mix of open spaces and hiding spots, so be sure to include plenty of both. Open areas can give them room to swim freely, while caves and crevices offer shelter when they're feeling shy or just need a break from the action. Feeding damselfish is like running a gourmet kitchen, minus the stress. These fish aren't picky eaters, but they do appreciate a well-rounded menu. Fresh or raw food, enriched frozen options, and freeze-dried treats should all make an appearance on their plate. Mixing up their diet ensures they get all the nutrients they need to stay healthy and vibrant. And let's be honest, who doesn't like a little variety in their meals? Regular feedings with high-quality food will enhance their natural colors, keeping them as bright as the day you brought them home. Think of it as treating your fish to a 5-star meal minus the Michelin-starred price tag. And speaking of that particular food is LRS Foods. I recommend it to all saltwater tank owners. Mix this up with a healthy microfauna population of copepods and the occasional live blackworms, and you have an incredible diet that you can provide for them. Look at you, you little Gordon Ramsay. And there you have it. Everything you need to turn your aquarium into a vibrant, drama-free zone with the right damselfish. These little devils might be small, but they bring a whole lot of personality and color to your tank. Remember, blue. So, if you really want to add some spunk to your underwater world, be sure to follow these best practices. If you want to dive even deeper into the world of damselfish, check out the blog post for all the juicy details. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button, like, and share, or better yet, check out the next video on your right. We'll see you next time.